Hey folks, this is Brandon Finiti, and welcome to the first episode of Moto Montana.
Welcome to MONTANAMOTO. I've got some motorcycles and a GoPro. What will happen, no one knows. So stick around and watch the show.
Today my weapon of choice is a 2008 KLR 650. She's quite a beast, and recently I've done a lot of maintenance on her, so today is a trial run to see how she does up in the hills back there.
Welcome to my channel, fellow enthusiasts. I am really excited to be making this video today because that means my KLR and I both made it out of here in one piece. Just a little bit about my background. I started riding dirt and adventure about 4 years ago. I rode as a kid but got back into it as an adult when I could finally afford motorcycles. I wish I wouldn't have waited so long because in the end, they wind up paying for themselves. A bike like this cost me about $2,500, and that might seem like a lot, and it is, but however, once you can save up and get your motorcycle, nothing can prepare you for the way your life is going to change. I'm averaging about 40 miles a gallon on this bike, which is a little low. I might get the MCP carb for this and see if I can get a little better mileage. I have the KLX kit in it, and it seems to do alright, but I don't know. I'm just not happy with the mileage overall. So if you ride a lot, you're probably going to save money on fuel, and that's going to help the bike pay for itself. The next best thing is the community. For whatever kind of bike you ride, there's a lot of people out there that probably ride the same kind.
You know, I just can't get over how beautiful Montana is. I mean, I could go in any direction. I'm kind of tempted to try and ride up this, but I'm alone today and I want to take it easy and be careful. So I think we're gonna go try and ride up that little hill just for fun over there. Obviously, I'm not gonna try and attack it from the steep face, but I think if I cruise down here and go up there, it'll be a nice view. So let's go check it out.
Now, once you buy yourself a motorcycle, you're going to be tempted to work on it yourself to save some money. But in the process, you're going to find that for every job there's a tool, and for every part there's a price. And that price is making mistakes and learning from them. It's part of the adventure. I'll tell you about a little mistake I made on my way here to Montana a month ago, and why I couldn't ride my bike back home. Woo-hoo. For all the things I've learned how to do, I never thought chains and sprockets would be the bane of my existence. When I got this bike, it came with a new chain and sprockets, and I couldn't put two and two together. At first I thought there was something wrong with the motor or the drivetrain. Something just didn't feel right. And do you think I stopped all the time to check it out? Nope, I just kept riding and riding and riding until the problem just couldn't be ignored anymore. I had frozen links in the chain, and the sprockets had all but eaten themselves. So I replaced it with the parts that came with the bike, but silly old me, I'd never messed with the chain much before, nor alignment, nor sprocket. No, I can put a JD jetting kit in a carburetor, or clean one out, or rebuild it, amongst other things, which is pretty handy, but it was the chain and sprockets that took me down. I think everything would have been okay, but the problem was, is I left the chain way too long and was too lazy to cut it down a little shorter, and that probably would have saved a lot of damage on my bike and a lot of headaches for me, because I was about to take a 700-mile journey to Whitehall, Montana. Now, I didn't know that a month later I'd be moving here for good, and I'm really glad that I am. You couldn't pay me to move back to Portland. But good God, I miss my people. Remember what I said earlier about the community? When I started riding, dirt bike and adventure riding, about the time COVID happened, I didn't really know anybody that rode. I knew this one guy who passed away last year, a good friend of mine. I'm really bummed out about it, but Ryan James was a really good man, and he introduced me to dirt snakes. I had purchased an 04 YZ450F for my first dirt bike, and I had no idea that the fantasy and the reality of riding are two totally different things. I just saw myself out there riding trails and hitting jumps and being a cool motocross guy. Well, it's not like that. You see, riding motorcycles is very, very strenuous on the body. And the first 15 minutes on my YZ450F at Jones Creek, Washington, OHV, man, I got my butt kicked. 15 minutes in, I was laying down in a puddle trying not to throw up because I was so exhausted. But I never gave up. And that good friend of mine, Ryan James, said, "Hey, why don't you come ride with us? There's a good group of guys that I'm sure you'll like riding with." So I loaded up my YZ450F and went and met the dirt snakes on the trails. Remember what I said about fantasy versus reality? I'll never forget the moment I realized how much stamina and strength it actually takes to ride your dirt bike. Up switchbacks, uphill, downhill, rocks, roots, mud. Anything there can take you out and make your life miserable. And about the worst thing you can do is get stalled going up the hill on a YZ450F. Because you gotta kick and kick and kick to get that thing going. And that was not fun. I don't know how many times people came back to check on me to make sure I was still good. And I thank all you guys for that, because it's what made me never give up. The camaraderie. Beating out the hard spots through thick and thin, and showing up at the end of the trail with your buddies is the best feeling in the world.
So it's kind of funny. Been smashing through the wilderness, doing some KLR stuff. Probably hard to see in the GoPro, but where that smokestack is in that little town, that's right next door to my house.
I kind of noticed at one point, I was growing as a rider, and I was also growing as a human being. Finding people in life that didn't want anything from you other than to see you succeed and be a part of the team was life-changing for me. And it's not just the dirt snakes. The KLR community, the adventuring community, whatever kind of riding it is, people out there would do anything to help you. They're not worried about money, not worried about compensation. It just feels good to have something that someone else needs and to be able to be there and help them in their time of need. So let me finish my story about the nightmare journey that I had here to Montana. About halfway in, I started having problems because when I put that chain on there, like I was talking about earlier, yeah, I had made it way too long because I was too lazy to go back and remove some of the links. So what happened was that really started digging into the sprockets because it stretched out pretty quick. And about halfway here to Montana, it would be about every 100 miles or so before I'd have to stop and put the chain back on so it would pop off. Then by the end it was every half a mile, and it was a nightmare, and there was nothing I could do about it. Somehow, I don't know how, but I made it here to my destination. I had to leave my bike here, fly back to Portland, and at some point I decided that I wanted to move over here, and I'm glad I did, because, well, you're seeing it. So I ordered the parts from Portland and had them sent here to Whitehall. And now that I'm here and started fixing my bike the other day, do you think I learned my lesson? No. I cut the chain too short, had to use one of the two master links that came with it to make the chain the right length again. And then I had to use the last master link to actually put the chain together. So it's got two master links on there, but it's running amazing, as you can see. Not a single hiccup today. This bike runs fantastic. It's got 60K on the frame and about maybe 1,500 on a new rebuild. And it just purrs. If you could hear some of the things I called my bike, man, it's not good. But I'll tell you what, I will never, ever get rid of this bike. It came with the manual. It came with notes from the very first repair all the way to the time I got it, which reminds me, I should probably add my notes into it. But yeah, it came with everything, and you can see it just does its job very well.
Gotta watch out for snakes. I don't hear any rattling, so that's a good sign. I don't know anything about Montana. Well, I know a little bit, but I know enough to stay away from boards like that. Imagine when that was new and somebody was building it, all the work they put in here, out in the middle of nowhere, getting supplies out here. I mean, who knows how old that is? Maybe 100 years? Oh man. Oh, that is so cool.
You know, one of the hardest things to do when you move this far away is to leave your family and friends behind. But at some point, you owe it to yourself to take everything that you've ever learned about you, people, the world, and really apply it. You owe it to yourself to take a chance, to get out there into the world, to seek adventure, success, fame, fortune, and love. And I think a big misconception is that I'd be running from my problems. I don't really have any problems. My life is amazing. I just want it to be amazing somewhere else. Like here, I mean, God, look at those mountains. This year was a pretty big year for me. I did the Desert 100 in Odessa, Washington. And my, was that a blast. I will be back every year until I finish that race. There's about 1,400 riders. They line you guys up single file, or side by side, sorry. Then they shoot a cannon off. And it's a 50-mile lap. And most people, depending on the class, either do 1 or 2 laps. And I made it about 25 miles and cracked the side case on my, had a KLX 400R that I wound up selling to a buddy before I left here in Montana. But yeah, stopped the race for me, and I will be back next year to try and finish that sucker because it's a trip. You gotta go once in your life if you've never been. Highly recommended. Desert 100. Be there next year. So here we have the beautiful Jefferson River right in my backyard, just down the street from my house. And I can't believe I live here now. I live where I can ride a dirt bike right out of my house and be lost in the hills in minutes. I mean, that is, I am blessed beyond measurement. This is something I've wanted my whole life, to be able to be free and just head for the hills, to know that I can take care of myself and be safe. Thinking back on that, I should probably get a personal locator beacon if I'm going to be out here by myself. Now I'm excited about this. There's a hot springs right here, a natural hot springs. And I cannot wait to come back here one morning when it's cool, because it's really hot during the day, and get in that sucker and just relax. I mean, I just can't get over how this is all right in my backyard. And it's so beautiful. All I want to do is stop every couple of seconds and film and take pictures. How do people that live here get over that? See that chick fly fishing right there? Yeah, that's my wife. She doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to marry her someday. I don't remember this bank being so eroded, but... So as I prepare to end this video, I just wanted to give a shout out to all my dirt snakes back in the Northwest. I also want to give a shout out to my father, Pete Finiti. You're a legend, man. Days like this are the reasons I started recording. One good day for me will fix 100 bad ones. And days like this are the best. I'm really glad I made it through that, because I don't want to look like a pussy in front of my dad. Remember what I said about not looking like a pussy in front of my dad? Well, it's about to happen. Right about there. I'm trying. Just kidding, folks. Well, if you've stuck around this far, thanks for tuning in to MONTANAMOTO. I still haven't figured out which one to roll with yet. So subscribe and stick around for more because there's a lot more coming your way.